The May sub battle is underway against Ravens Rundown. We are narrowly losing at this time. We are 10 subs behind, still very early in the process. I think we can catch up. To get more free Bengals videos all off-season long, even if it's not the most entertaining time of the year, hit that sub button right now. We're going to begin with some Treylon Burks trade talk. I didn't think we would go into this one, but I saw a lot of good conversation on social media about the Bengals may be trading for Burks, and because I do think he is available, thanks to our good friend Tyler Boyd signing in Tennessee and Burks now becoming receiver 4 at best, it's a worthwhile conversation. The issue is, despite being a former first-round pick, a consensus, top 30 player for most people coming out of Arkansas, Burks has been a colossal disappointment. This level of production over 2 years would be like, it's not really what we were hoping for in 1 year out of our first-round pick, who, fair or not, was being counted on, to play a massive role after that Titans, made the bad mistake of trading away A.J. Brown. I mean, look, the 2023 production, 16 for 221 and 0 TDs, Andre Yoshivas had 15 for 116 and 4 touchdowns. Like, we're talking not massive differences there from, a sixth-round pick out to the top 200 and a top 25 pick. Now, the talent, in theory, is still there, and I don't think this would cost you anything more than a fifth-rounder. And depending on what grade the Bengals had on him, maybe he's worth the old kick at the tires. Now, the Bengals don't need a wide receiver right now. They've got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Jermaine Burton, Charlie Jones. Trenton Irwin can be your fourth or fifth if you need him to. Many of you, including myself, are excited about Andre Yoshivas' future, his timeline, etc. So you don't need a receiver right now. Now, one thing I do want to clarify, I'm not going to call anybody names, I did see this floated out there of like, well, what if you flipped Higgins to Tennessee, you got Burks and a second-round pick back? I'm not doing that. I have zero desire to do that, and I would argue it's a bad idea for Cincinnati because Higgins is too important to you. And Burks does not carry more than a fifth-round pick value. Yeah, you could probably make it work with your receiving core. They don't want to trade Higgins for anything less than a king's ransom, at least right now. Maybe that's not the best long-term strategy, but the Bengals are focused on the here, the now. So I'm down to trade for Treylon Burks and let him, fight for one of those backup wide receiver roster spots. And probably doesn't bode that well for Trenton Irwin, if we're being honest there. But I'm not moving Higgins as part of the deal. So would you trade for Treylon Burks? Y for yes, N for no. This will be today's pinned comment. So if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Ignore the ad even. Head down to the pinned comment and vote Y for yes, N for no. Got two different SB Nation free agent target ideas. First up here is this idea of adding Cam Akers to the Bengals running back room. Cincy Jungle, the SB Nation site, had pitched this idea. And on one hand, I get it. You have Zach Moss, he's making this team. Chase Brown, he's making this team. RB3 and maybe RB4 is up for grabs. Travion Williams was supposed to be the third down back the team needed so badly, didn't do much of anything last year. Chris Evans was supposed to be the return guy who actually I think might benefit from new kick return rules, by the way. Maybe he could be your RB4. Noah Kane, Elijah Collins are more, camp bodies, practice squad options. And I get the Cam Akers. Remember how good he was but back when he first got going? He was that second-round pick. He had 5 starts and flashed all that good stuff down the stretch for L.A. Yeah, he ain't been that guy since then. He was solid in 2022, but the injuries have really added up. And frankly, he was outright bad with the Vikings and Rams. I mean, he averaged 2.8 yards per carry. Even just in Minnesota, it was 3.6. It wasn't very good. And there are other issues that come along with this whole conversation we'll get to here momentarily. But would you sign Cam Akers? S for you'd sign MP for your pass, and you don't want to go down that route there. Go vote in the comments section. The number one thing is, best case scenario with Zach Moss, Chase Brown, barring injuries, Cam Akers is your RB3 or 4. And in most cases, not all, but most cases, you need that guy to contribute on special teams. Cam Akers literally does not play special teams. There's 0 snaps for him. So that's how those types of guys get squeezed off of game day roster. Of like, okay, well, Akers, let's say he's a better runner than Trevion Williams. Well, he'll help me on special teams. Chris Evans can do return stuff if I need him to. Williams can do return stuff if I need him to. Akers hasn't done that. And at this point, it would be unfair to expect he would suddenly learn to do that either. So I think that you could rank Akers in your top 120 backs in the NFL, but it's not just a meritocracy for running back stuff. It's, do you help on special teams? I think that's a big issue right now for Akers. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. It's daily fantasy made easy. You're picking more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watching those winnings roll in. You can obviously do NFL stuff once those games get going. Season-long stuff, as we've mentioned before here on the show, is available as well. NBA, NHL, esports, WNBA as well. In most cases, I will always advocate to do the flex play. If you get one wrong, the payout's lower, but you actually still win. So do 2 out of 3, get that right flex play power. 3 out of 4, flex play wins. Power play, higher payouts, but a little bit more risky. Now, when I do the power play is when I do Prize Pick slates like this one here. I'm putting this on every single Prize Pick thing I do from now for the next week-ish. Caitlin Clark, half a point. It's a freebie. It's a gift from Prize Picks to us. I'm going to take less than Jalen Brunson, 37.5 points, in large part because at some point he's got to stop dropping almost 40. I think this is the night he only drops 33 or whatever. And I'll take less than Pascal Siakam, only 31.5 points, rebounds, and assists, but he's not hit that in 5 straight games. I think the Knicks still win as well. Let's go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. Now, SB Nation also suggested the Bengals look to sign Dalton Risner before camp begins. And even more so than Akers, I am more intrigued by this one because of where you sit on the offensive line. I think your tackles, short-term, long-term, are set. Orlando Brown, Trent Brown, and of course, Amarius Mims, you guys know I'm a big fan of. I think the weak point right now on this offensive line is left guard. That is Cordell Volson, who did not play that great. Now, I will make note, if you sign Risner, I think you're still going to have Volson on the roster. Plus Mims, there's 6. I am a large fan of Matt Lee, but we'll see if he makes it. That could be 7. 8, 9, 10 could be Deontay Smith, Cody Ford, Trey Hill, but maybe you cut one of those interior guys to make room for Risner, who I think at this point we have to acknowledge this, isn't as well regarded by the NFL as media, etc. Now, he played just under 800 snaps last year. No sacks allowed, that's great. Did allow 30 pressures. That is a higher ratio, and the run blocking grade, which, take it for what it is, it's just PFF's opinion, frankly, wasn't that high either, but he has been a proven, reliable starter in the NFL for several years now at guard. Cordell Volson, he wasn't as good. Way too high on the sacks, the hits, the hurries. All those numbers are exceedingly higher than, even with a higher snap count, by the way. The run blocking wasn't that great either. He's been a good draft pick for Cincinnati relative to where he was taken, but you're trying to win a championship right now. If this team, I don't know if they do, this team thinks Risner would be an upgrade. In fact, they probably don't think that's the case. Do it, because the upside is you have a better guard option, which I feel like we had this exact same conversation last year, by the way. Now that I think about it, this sounds very, very familiar. The exact same conversation this time last year. Either way, pick a left guard. DR for Dalton Risner, CV for Cordell Volson. Sound off for me in the comments section. One note/roster move to update you guys on. Markus Bailey has signed a 1-year deal with the Arizona Cardinals. That was a special teams contributor, former later round pick out of Purdue. Going to go fight for a roster spot with Arizona. Wasn't a surprise he didn't return. The Bengals chose to bring back Akeem Davis-Gaither, Joe Bocci, who were also free agents, just like Markus Bailey was. They have Devin Harper, who they claimed off waivers from the Cowboys last year. Shaka Hayward was their UDFA last year as well. Then they added 2 guys, Aaron Casey from Indiana and Miti Njamita, I think that's how it's pronounced, probably got it wrong, out of Wisconsin. You didn't need bring back Markus Bailey, and he probably thinks there's a better chance he makes the Cardinals roster than it would be to make the Bengals roster at this time.